Good morning, good morning. Of course, it may not be morning where you are, but it's morning for me. So I'm going to address a question that comes up fairly frequently, and it needs some sort of unpacking. And the question is, it tends to happen when someone uses whatever natural treatment. I just had a question reference the iTerra Care wand, but it could be another modality. It may be some supplements or whatever. But what happens when the person who's taking the treatment feels worse rather than feeling better? Does that mean they should slow down, stop? Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What is the meaning? Now, it's difficult to give precise answers because there's lots of variables and it depends. But a lot of the time, it's actually a good sign within reason. So someone today just mentioned that they were treating glaucoma with the frequency and that they had a pain behind their eye after that. So this is a case where probably it's actually a good thing if it's not too severe. So let me explain and let me give some analogies to help people kind of grasp what might be going on. So when we're treating a body holistically, what we're seeking to do is not treat the disease, but we're trying to address the actual causes underlying the symptoms rather than suppressing symptoms. So what's happened is the body has become out of balance in some way, often in many ways. So it might be nutritionally out of balance, hormonally out of balance. It may be electrically out of balance, and various other imbalances that can be there. So let's talk about an imbalance that we understand well, and we've all experienced. We've all woken up, we've been lying on our arm, and we wake up with a dead arm. It's not pleasant, the arm feels horrible, and we want to fix it. So how do we fix it? We get off the arm and we start to move our fingers around, because what's happened is we've trapped or pinched the circulation so that the blood has not been getting through into our arm properly, and so that causes the imbalance, which creates the symptoms that feel like a dead arm. Okay, so we know exactly what's caused it. So as we start to wiggle our fingers, we do that to encourage circulation. We've got off our arm, we encourage circulation. The thing is, what actually happens is that typically we'll feel worse for a while. As the blood starts to come back in, we get the pins and needles. It's like, right? And things get worse for a while. And that's quite common with imbalances. When you go from imbalance back to balance again, the pathway is not a lovely smooth curve to feeling better. It's often worse and then better. And that's just a particular example that we've all experienced. Let me give you another example. So we've all spun around until we get so dizzy we fall over. We've all done that. So what the mechanism for the dizziness there is that the action of spinning unsettles the inner fluids in the ear, and that creates an imbalance, which is literally an imbalance where you fall over. That creates a disturbance in those fluids, which throws out our balance. Okay, so we know the cause, spinning. We know the mechanism, the fluids get messed up. Okay, so we've all tried this where we spin. We don't want to get so dizzy we fall over, so we try to spin as much as we can without going that far, and then we stop. So we're spinning, it causes us to start to feel out of balance, so we stop. Now, we stop the mechanism 100% in an instant, which is normally we can't do that with things that are caused by toxins, for example. We can't suck every toxin out of our body in an instant, so it's more of a gradual thing. But in this case, we stopped it completely, the cause. So one would assume that if we completely stop the cause, then we should feel a lot better. Actually, when we stop, what happens is now the room starts to spin. I almost feel dizzy just describing it. The room starts to spin more. Sometimes we've mistimed it and we still fall over, but we definitely feel more dizzy. And then it takes a while before it starts to calm down and we feel better. So again, a situation where we've created an imbalance, and then as we move back to balance, it's not a path of feeling slightly better until we get better. We feel worse and then we feel better. So this is a common theme as we begin to move from imbalance to balance. Very, very common. And a lot of the time, there's no other way. That's the way it has to be. Now we can sometimes modulate it somewhat by slowing that down. I'm going to give one more example that some people will be familiar with. So neuropathy. So the wand is phenomenal at healing neuropathy. So neuropathy is damage to the nerves. The doctors tell us that the nerves have died. That's not true, because we see them coming back to life as they're being resurrected, Lazarus nerves. But the nerves, as they die, they hurt. All right. So if you talk to people with neuropathy, you'll find that there's different types of pain. Not everyone's the same. So they might get burning pain. They might get stabbing pains. There's a range of different pains, and some of them are permanent pains that are just there all the time. Some of them come and go depending. But that's the process as the nerves die that most people with neuropathy will describe to you. So eventually, many people with neuropathy get to the point where, let's say, their feet, with diabetic neuropathy, often starts with the feet. So eventually they get to the point where their feet are numb and dead, and they don't really have much in the way of pain anymore. But they don't have feeling. It's not good at all. And of course, if they get wounds or anything in that area, they're likely to not heal properly, and so on. But anyway, now when you start to wand, you're gonna most of the time you're going to start to see improvements, and the nerves are going to come back to life again. But guess what? That can be painful. So we can go back to the pain that they've long since not had, start having those stabbing pains again, and start having burning and whatever other pains that they used to have, or maybe new ones, as the nerves start to come back alive again. Not that they were dead, but they start to function properly again. So there are so many situations where, when you're getting better, things get worse first. So a lot of people give up if they start to experience something that's uncomfortable. They assume that must be bad, and of course, these examples prove it's not. We could talk about exercise. They say no pain, no gain. Okay, so a lot of exercise is painful. But we know it's good as long as we don't exercise too much that we do damage. Then of course it's not good. So not always does pain mean it's getting better. We can take things too far and we can do damage. So we do have to be a little careful. But when we exercise, it hurts, right? If we're doing anything more than something very gentle, it can, exhaust us. We can get cramp. We can get various aching muscles. Our muscles can be sore for days sometimes if we're not used to doing exercise. So there are so many situations. So we've got to be very careful if we start to feel something uncomfortable that we say, "Oh, I'm not doing that. It's not good." No, that doesn't mean that. But at the same time, there are situations where we don't want to be causing too much pain. So, for example, one of the types of pain can be caused, to stay with frequency. So one of the things the wand will do is it will help you to detox. Okay, so it's going to do that by structuring the blood, enabling the blood to get in and out of the cells better. So as it goes in the cells, it's going to take nutrients and oxygen, and now it's coming out, it's bringing toxins. So we're now able to flush the cells properly, which oftentimes hasn't been done for a while. Now, when that happens, we're flushing out toxins into our system. And if we have too many toxins and it's flushing out too fast, the toxins can make us not feel good. Okay, they can create symptoms, the same symptoms they may have created on the way in, or even more if it's a faster release than they came in. So, is that good? Not really. Okay, because that means the toxins are damaging you. So we want to slow that down, and there's various ways to slow it down. So one of the things that I recommend, and if you're watching this in the secret customer support group, you have the ability to get a very special offer of a nano zeolite that's natural, called PBX, and you can get that, and that will mop up those toxins as they're released by the wand. It's highly recommended, especially if you're very toxic. But anyway, so if you're flushing out too many toxins for your body to handle, you can have many unpleasant symptoms, flu-like symptoms, for example, headaches, nausea, all this kind of stuff. And that's not good. So we need to slow that down. So it's good that you're flushing the toxins, but you have to flush it at a speed that your body can cope with. So not all pain and discomfort caused by doing these things that are helping your body are good. So some of it is not good. So that's why it's really good to work with someone like myself, so we can interpret what's going on in the individual. But if you're doing something that's generally healthy and positive, and then you feel uncomfortable, most of the time it's good. It's doing good, and as long as the discomfort is not so great as to cause you to be dysfunctional. So usually it is good. So when using any method of bringing about rebalance to your body, moving it from a state of imbalance to a state of balance, you have to accept that some of the time, for some people, a reasonable percentage of people, especially the most toxic people, for some people, there's going to be some discomfort on the journey to get there. And really, that's almost unavoidable. Unless you're really careful in how you do it. But it's good. So please don't be put off by feeling aches and pains and nausea and other things. Just go at a pace that your body can handle. You are healing, but you just need to do it carefully. So, okay, I hope that helps. I hope that clarifies a few things. It's a complex topic, and there's so many different facets to it, but that's a sort of gloss over overview that hopefully will give people some direction and some understanding. All right, God bless, have a great day, bye bye.